Hi, in this video we're going to be looking at gain. So this enables us to change the amplitude of a signal in Puredata. So if we create a new patch, move this down here, and then I want to put a couple of objects in there. I shall generate a sine wave by using OSC tilde, and I shall do that at 440 Hertz. Click on the background, that's created well. So this object, OSC, creates a cosine wave, which is output from this bottom output there, and we can actually change the frequency by sending a message to that. If we wanted to hear this, we needed to add a DAC object, which is essentially our sound card. So that's DAC tilde, because the tilde means that this is an audio signal. And then if I just route the two together and turn the DSP system on, we get sort of like a tone. And then something a little bit more useful is if we apply some sort of gain to this. So in audio, gain or amplification is actually created by multiplying a signal with a number. So if we add another object, put object, and we'll put this one in the middle of these two here, and we have the editor star key followed by the tilde. So in computing, multiplication is the star symbol, and then the tilde after this indicates that this is a multiplication of a audio signal. So I've got an audio signal which outputs from OSC. We'll route that to one of these inputs here, and then the output of this, we'll route it to our sound card through the DAC tilde object. Now, what this will do is the samples which are output of the OSC are all multiplied by a number, and we can change this number that's on there. So we can do this by sending messages to this output on the left there. So if we add a message 0, and we'll add a message 1. And I'll just sort of jig these here, just to give us a little bit more room. Now if I route both of these messages to our input there, what will happen is if I click on this number 1, it will multiply every sample by the number 1. So any number times by 1 is actually itself. So basically audio will go straight through. If I send this the message 0, it will then multiply every sample by the number 0. So every number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. So that will mute the output. So if I put this into, take this out of edit mode, and then turn on the DSP, we might not hear anything straight away. So if I click on 1, what that's actually doing, I'll turn this off to show, what that's actually doing is multiplying every output of that by the number 1, so it's passing them all. If I click on 0, it then multiplies that stream by the number 0, which is silence, is what we've actually got. So we can use a number between 0, which is silent, and 1, which is going through straight through the system without any change. If I was to add another object, so we'll put another message, and we'll add this one at 0.5. Put that one there. What this will do is, if I send this message, it will then multiply that stream by the number 0.5, which will give us exactly the same input, but it will be at half the level. So I'll put this out of edit mode, and now if I press this 1, so everything's going through straight. 0 means that we are muting, and 0.5 means that we are multiplying this by half. So that's roughly equivalent to a 3 dB change. So I can change that on these two there. So that's one way of applying gain to a signal. So if I take this into edit mode and move these round, the other thing that we could do is to put a slider in here and route. We'll put a number. At the bottom so we can see what's going on, and now I'm routing this number to this section there. So it's starting to get slightly more complicated. So I shall move these around. Didn't want to do that. It's like this. So if I've got this slider, and now, so if I right click on the slider and give it a range between 1 and 1.0, and then click apply, hopefully we should get a sliding gain value here. So if I put this into out of edit mode, turn the DSP symbol on, here we see that we can actually affect the gain of the signal. So all we're doing is we are sending a number between 0 and 1 to this multiplier. So again, we can still do this. We can mute, but this is probably a little bit more useful, a bit like a mixing desk, to be able to do that on there. The final thing that we can do, if we put this into edit mode, is we can now select a logarithmic mode for this slider. So I do that by collecting there. And what the logarithmic mode does is it kind of works more like a standard fader. So it won't be so prominent when you make changes. So if we put this out of edit mode, and now you'll see that this is a lot smoother than our previous linear fader. So to summarize, we'll mute this, we can affect the gain of a audio signal by multiplying it by a set number. If we send 1, multiply everything by 1, we get exactly the output is exactly the same as the input. If we multiply the stream by 0, we get a series of zeros output, which is silence. If we then have a number between 1 and 0, this affects the amplitude. So 0.5 is equivalent to half, and then we can use a fader or a slider to give us a sort of value in between here. So that's applying gain to an audio signal.